Well, welcome. My name is Travis True. I'm the Curriculum and Technology Coordinator for Topeka Public Schools in Topeka, Kansas. I'm a Google certified trainer, Apple Learning Specialist, certified Promethean trainer. We're a Promethean district. And what I'm going to kind of show you and talk to you about and have some discussions about today is Google Drawing. And the piece of Google Drawing on either you creating or the students creating interactive and engaging activities using drawing. A lot of people just think that you can use it to make posters and pictures and do some annotation over it. Well, there's a lot of other things that you can do. I am at Travis True on Twitter, and there's my website, just travistrue.com, my first name, last name. If you go to my website, there's a link at the top called Presentations. You'll see TCEA on there, and that kind of links you back into this if you want that. So, just some housekeeping things. And there's the link to my presentations. With Pear Deck, you'll get an email from me later tonight with basically this Pear Deck, the slides in a Google document, and whatever. If I ask you to type something or choose something, those responses will be in that document with the links that are on the slides. So you can take notes if you want, but you'll get this and all the links and resources in a Google Doc later on. Okay, so these are my girls. I got 3 girls: a junior, a freshman, and a 4th grader. And the reason I bring that up is Hannah, who is a junior, she's a freshman. Today's her birthday. And I was here last year, and obviously her birthday is always February 6th. Duh. So she said, well, can't you tell them to change the date so you don't miss my birthday again? So here's what I want you to do for me. I'm going to embarrass the heck out of her. Can I get you all to sing happy birthday to her? Okay. All right. I'm gonna record it. I'll count you down 1, 2, 3, and then you guys can sing. All right. Okay. Happy birthday, Hannah. I'm here with about 40 friends in Texas.
Hey, Hannah. Hi, Hannah.
And we got something to sing to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Hannah. Happy birthday to you.
All right, happy birthday, Hannah. All right. She'll hate me for that, but that's what dads do, right? Okay, shameless plugs here. In Kansas, we have a small TCEA conference called the MACE Conference. It is March 1st and 2nd at Kansas State University. So if you want to make the trip up, the weather is probably about the same as in March as it is here. Right now it's single digits in Topeka now and snowing. So I'm happy to be here. That's our website. You can go register to that. If you're in Kansas during the month of June, we have what we call Ed Camp Kansas. We have 8 Ed Camps across the state. We used to do it all on the same day, but now we've broken it up, and there are the locations. Andover, which is outside of Wichita, that's the one at the top. If you can't read that, the 80s rocker band, and the one in Topeka will be June 14th. So there are some options there. If you happen to be around Ed Camp, Kansas, in June. Okay, so I want to know who we got here. Do we have administrators, teachers, media specialists, other support? So you should have a question pop up there. Okay. Well, kind of a nice mix. A lot of instructional coaches, tech support. My title is Curriculum Technology Coordinator. I am essentially an integration technology specialist. There's two of us. We have about 13,000 students in our district. We're one-to-one K through 12. K2 has iPads. 312 has Chromebooks. And there's two of us to do the tech integration support for 1,800 teachers or whatever. So makes for some fun days. So that's good. I like to know kind of who we're dealing with. So what do you know about today's topic? Obviously you know it's Google Drawing. That's what we're going to talk about. But is there a burning question that you want to know? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on basics. There's not a lot of basics to drawing. It's pretty simple if you get in and play around with it. I will start off and we'll talk about working with images and finding images that'll work. Let's see what kind of questions we have. Good. A lot of using it for other things other than images. That's good. That's a good question. I'll show you some I'll try to show you some tips on that. And this one here, no, it's one slide or it's one canvas that you work with. You can't have multiples. If you have multiples, you'll have two different files. If you have multiples, so that's a good question. Okay, very good. Very good. All right, so the best thing about having a session, well, the worst thing about having a session now is everybody's tired. But the best thing is there's no session after us. So we can stay here as long as you want. Okay? But I'll try to get done about 5 o'clock or a little bit before if things are going well. What I plan to do, I'll show you a little bit, give you some what we call sandbox time to get your hands dirty with whatever I showed you, play around, because we build in sandbox time to all of our PD sessions. About a third of our time is really sandbox time when we do face-to-face training. So you'll get some sandbox time and play around. But what I want to start with, and leave your tabs open, but you can just make a new tab. And I'm going to go to Google Drive. And let's talk about images for a second, because yes, that's basically what Google Drawing, a lot of people think about that you do with drawing is you manipulate images, you create images, you annotate over images. But I want to give you some tips and tricks on kind of working with images. So let's say who uses Google Classroom? Okay. So you want to make a banner for your Google Classroom, a customized banner. You don't like what they give you, right? Okay. So one of the things you can do is you can customize the size of the canvas. So keep this in mind too. See how it's checkerboard? When we're talking about working with images, you'll hear me say it has a transparent background. That means the image may be square and you'll see the picture, but the border of the image is invisible. And so any picture that you see that has a checkerboard background, that means it'll be transparent when you download it. And you can kind of see through the outside of the picture. And I'll show you that. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense when I show it to you. So I'm going to change this so it'll fit in a Google Classroom banner. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Page Setup. And it always comes up as the standard 4 by 3. I'm going to go into Custom. Now, I'm changing inches. I don't want it 10 inches by 7.5 inches. I'm going to change it to pixels. You can search for this. You can do a Google search and search for size of Google Classroom banner, and you'll get about 5 or 6 different sizes from different websites. Okay? The most common one is 800 by 200 pixels. That's kind of the most common one. There's one out there that's 800 by 400. That's not much. There's not much difference in that one. All right. So notice how it changed it. It made it longer. Kind of looks like the banner. Now I want to change the background. So if you right-click on the canvas, you have background here. And you can change all these background colors. And one of the updates they did recently within the last year is now you have gradient colors. So I'll just change that to that gradient green. So you right-click, go to background. If you know the color that you want to use, you can put in the custom numbers. If it's on the gradient, if I don't want my radius in the center, maybe I want that kind of brighter radius coming out of the bottom left corner instead of the center. I can move that if I go into right-click and custom if you're on gradient. Okay, so you got it changed. Change the background. Let's get into some images. So if I go up here to Insert, or the Insert Image button on the toolbar looks like a kind of a square with some mountains on it. Kind of looks like a picture. If you click on that, you have 6 different options to get a picture on there. You can upload it from your computer if you have it saved to the hard drive or a flash drive. You can search the web. You can, if you got it saved on your Google Drive, you can bring it in. If you got it saved on your Google Photos, if you know the web address of the picture, you can put that in there. And they just put back in that you can take a picture with your webcam on your computer or your Chromebook. I'm going to do search the web. So these image searches, and they changed this here not too long ago. These image searches, it searches Google Images, and what it does is it brings back images that are labeled as commercial reuse with modifications, which means that you can use them without written permission. You need to cite them, and you can modify them. You can crop them. You can annotate over them. So they're almost copyright free. You still got to cite them, or you're supposed to cite them, but they're free images. So I'm going to come in here and since it's snowing back home, here's a picture of a snowman. I'm just going to grab this one. I'm going to click on him once. There's a blue check mark, and I'm going to click Insert, and he gets inserted right here. Now, this image has a transparent background. You know that because the picture is actually outlined in blue. But you can see the green behind him. So the actual picture is what's in blue. And when I click off of there, you can see everything behind him. So it has a transparent background. If I insert a different picture, oops, I don't want that one. Yeah, let's just do this one. This one does not have a transparent background. Okay, that just has a white background. So you see the differences right away. Which one looks nicer? Transparent background. So you want to search for images that have transparent backgrounds. And with images that live on the web, so you have images, the file names end in like JPG, GIF, and PNG. The ones that end in PNG are usually the ones with transparent images or backgrounds. Okay? So let's go out here then. So I'm going to go out to Google. I'm going to click on images up here in the top right corner by my profile picture. And I'm going to type in baseball. So this is just a Google image search of baseball. If I come in here to tools, there's a usage rights filter. I can bring back reuse with modification, reuse, non-commercial reuse, which means you can use it, but you can't use it to sell anything, and then non-commercial reuse. So the ones that come from the other Google search in drawings is this one, non-commercial reuse with modification, so it filters that search. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here to color, and one of my options is transparent. I don't know why they put that under color, but that will filter out images that are supposed to have transparent backgrounds. Not all of them do, but most of them do. So if I'm going to click on this one, this dirty baseball right here. Okay, you see how the picture actually has the checkerboard, so that has a transparent background. So I want to use that. Well, I can right click and I can copy the image. I could save it, or if I click and hold and drag it up here to this tab and then bring it down, it drops it right on my canvas. Here's what you don't want to do. Don't drop it right here on the tab, because then it opens up on the website. You want to click and hold, drag, open up the tab, and then drag it and drop it on wherever you want that to be. Okay? And then you can, resize it and do all that other good stuff to it. One of the last things on images here is, so on this snowman, if I go in here, if I click on an image, in my toolbar, this format options comes up. I can recolor it. It gives me, if I don't want it that color, I can do some recoloring. But some of the new stuff they did is you can now add drop shadows and reflections to your images. So if you had a drop shadow, let me take the reflection off. If I had a drop shadow of this hot pink, let's see, I need to make it, there we go. Make it not so transparent. Let's change the angle a little bit. The distance, ooh, there we go. Okay, that's the drop shadow. You can also do a reflection. All you do is you just check the box and you can see the reflection, and you click the arrow here and you can make it kind of play around with that. Transparent, and then the size, there's a kind of a bigger. So you can do some reflecting of your images and all that good stuff. One of the other things I really like to do is when I have an image, you can right click and you can crop the image so you can bring in the sides and crop out part of it. But one of the things on an image, and you can do this in slides too, is when you have the image selected, you come up to the crop button here at the top and click on the arrow, and you can actually crop it into any of these shapes. So let's say I crop this into there's my heart. Okay? And I can double click and I can make that baseball, oh, that's the heart. I can make that baseball bigger so it fills in that shape. This pencil button here changes the color of the line. So the line of that shape, let's make it red. And this button, it's got these parallel lines. It's called border weight. That's the size of your line or the size of your border. We'll make that 12. And then you could put a reflection on it, put a drop shadow. So you can do some things like that. Like I have a badging program for our teachers in Topeka, and I make the badges just as a circle and put the Google tool inside of it. And that's how I do it. Okay. Any questions on images, on editing, anything like that, like doing the cropping? It's called masking. That's a Photoshop term, masking to the shape. Yeah. Oh, to change the size of the canvas, you go to File and Page Setup. And if you're in Docs and you want to change the size of the document, that's where you go. Same in Slides too. You can go to that same. And you want to choose pixels.
Okay, and what was your size right there?
800 by 200. And if you're not sure on a size, just go to Google and ask. What's the size of a profile picture on Twitter? It'll tell you in pixels. And you can just do that. Question?
So should you have all four of those options on format when you click on an image? Or, because I have one here that I pulled from somewhere else, but I only get drop shadow reflection, I don't get the recolor option. At the top.
Some pictures you can't recolor.
Okay.
It depends on the kind of picture. Usually PNGs, if it's a PNG, usually you can't. But because of the way, JPEGs, JPGs, usually you can't. PNGs, because of the way they're formatted, you can. Okay. So I'll show you some more tricks with pictures. I'm going to make a new canvas here. Okay. So back to Pear Deck. Back to our Pear Deck tab. So how you feeling so far? Do we need to spend 2 hours on images? No? Oh, that's good. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, good. That's what I like to see. Good. Okay. Everybody's feeling good. Okay. All right. So let's talk about interactive slides. So the really cool thing about drawings is that you can set it up. You can set the canvas up to really look however you want it to. You can look like a banner. You can make it look like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You can change the color. You can add the pictures in there. It's a lot easier to manipulate than a Google slide. And because of slides having multiple slides, there's not all this distraction over here on the left with all the other slides. Okay? So you create the canvas, and you can create the activity. And if you shoot this out through Classroom or give them the link where the students can edit it, then they can manipulate some of the shapes or type in a text box or use the line tools or the color tools, and it makes it interactive for the kids. Okay? Some of the other things that you can do is you can add links to objects and links to text, so you can actually link to websites or link to videos. And I'll show you the workaround for putting a YouTube video into your Google Drawing. Okay? There's a workaround. You can't do it through insert, but there's a workaround for it. Okay? All right. So this is where you get to decide what we do next. Do you want me to show you how to set up a drag-drop activity? Just something simple. A timeline, a labeling activity, or a Google link. Does anybody know what ThingLink is? ThingLink? Google Link is the poor man's ThingLink. I'll show you how to set up a ThingLink using drawings and links. You got kicked out?
Get back in. It gave me one of those weird messages.
Here, go here. Oh, go to your, okay. There you go. The code's right there in the middle if it asks you.
It won't give me that though.
No, you're fine. Do the joinpd.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Try the joinpd.com.
Is there a way to save a Google drawing as a JPEG?
Yeah. Let me show you that real quick. So on this one right here, I closed my other one. If you go to File and Download As, and I'll talk about the difference. Let me just talk about the differences in each of these. So you can download it as a PDF document, which opens in any device, on a phone, on an iPad. And if you have links on it, the links work. Okay, so if you have that, if you set up, I have one secretary that's how she her school newsletters is in drawings. We got her away from using Publisher, and she does it in drawings. Sets it up 8.5 by 11, and puts text boxes, pictures on there. It looks really nice. She downloads it as a PDF, and then the links to the different activities still work in the PDF. The JPEG, if you download it as that, you're not going to have the transparent background. It's just going to be white if you didn't change the color. PNG will keep the background transparent. So if you go put it on a website or put it in a Google Doc or on a Google slide with a colorful background, you'll see right through that picture if you download it as a PNG. And then an SVG is you can open that up in Photoshop, and then you can manipulate it in Photoshop. Or Tinkercad. Yeah, so those are your download options for those. Okay, so let's get back to this.
About downloading?
Yeah.
Is there a way to download them high res?
It's whatever you set the size to. If you set a really high resolution, it'll scale it down to fit in your screen, and then it'll download it as that size. So like the badges I do are just 200 by 200 pixels, so they're really small. But if you wanted to make that size bigger, and you can, and the image will be larger. Okay. Let's see what we got. Oh my gosh. Oh, jeez. We're waiting on that last one. Who's in the middle? Who didn't vote?
Well, they voted for all four.
They voted for all four. All right, that one moving. You get the final vote. Oh, sorry.
You can't even tell how many there are.
I can't. Well. All right. Okay, you guys. It's like I was a middle school tech ed teacher for 12 years. I know you guys. Okay, Google Link. Let's do that one. Poor man's ThingLink. And then I'll give you some time to kind of play around. And if you want me to, I'll show you how you can set up the others too during the sandbox time. All right. I'm going to leave it as, I'm not going to change the size here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here to Google Images. We're going to have a Kansas geography lesson. Okay, which one do I want to use? Let's just use this one. No, that's not a good one to use. I don't want it to be transparent. It's a big rectangle with... Yeah. All right, let's just use this one here. All right, so I'm going to put this image in here. And if it doesn't fit on your canvas, you can just click from the button. One little trick is sometimes when you click and drag, on the corners it's not so much, but if you click and drag here, it flattens out. Oops. If you don't ever want it to flatten out, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and then drag. That'll pretty much guarantee that it's not going to flatten out. All right, so I'm going to do that. Another way to resize this, so I don't want this empty stuff at the bottom. If I click on the canvas, you see these lines down here in this bottom right corner? Does everybody see that? I can click and hold and I can drag and make that fit on my canvas. So I don't have to type in the exact pixels or the exact size. I can take that corner, it's kind of hard to see right now, but I can take that corner and I can drag it down and drag it out if I need to resize it just a little bit. All right. Okay. Now, let's do this. Let's go to, there is a website called the Noun Project. Has anybody heard of the Noun Project? Okay. The Noun Project basically gives you free icons basically for you to use. You got to cite them, but they have all kinds of icons. So I want a video, an icon that's video. So here's all these different video icons that I can use. Okay, I'm just going to come up here and click on this one, and I can download it here. Okay, I can't click and drag. So I'm going to download it. Oh yeah, and I'm going to download the PNG version. And I do have an account. Oops. I do have an account. There it is. And I can do royalty free, or I can do Creative Commons if you want to know the difference. The royalty free, you purchase the license, the royalty free license for unlimited use. Creative Commons, you can use it, but you have to cite it. That's the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Creative Commons, and I'm just going to download it out here to my desktop. I'm going to name it as video so I know what that is. And I'll come back in here to drawings. And if you're using Chrome, you can just click and drag on this little download doohickey here and drag this up and drop it. And there it is. And then I'm going to resize this. Okay, so we have, stupid dictionary. Somewhere up here in the middle of a field is the center of the lower 48 states. It's right up here by Lebanon, Kansas. It's about 5 miles from the Nebraska border. Okay. And if I go into format, I can recolor. Well, I guess I can't recolor it. That's okay. And so now what I want to do is I'm going to go out to YouTube or whatever streaming video service you want. That's pretty much where it's at. It's in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, so you grab the video. you copy the link to the video, you come back to your drawing. If you have your picture selected, on the toolbar there's a link, there's a button that looks like a chain. You click on it, you paste in your video, and there it is. And then so here's what this looks like. Let me download this as a PDF and show you. See how I get the finger? So there's a link there, and when I click on it, it opens up to that video. So that's kind of like what ThingLink does. Not as fancy as ThingLink, but you can do that. So the other thing, so you can link to anything. If you wanted to link to a picture of Mount Sunflower, which is the highest point in Kansas, which isn't, trust me, it's not very high. And there's the thing to it out in somebody's pasture. You copy the image address. I'll go out here to the noun project again. Let's see if they got a sunflower. Hey, there we go. How about this one? And it's out here. There, it's actually on this map. And I still have that link to that picture. So I can click. If you click on it, and it opens up the link to that picture. So we do have teachers that have kids, this is their presentation. Instead of a PowerPoint, instead of a slide deck, this is their presentation for Martin Luther King Day, since we're the home of Brown v. Board and Rosa Parks. We had one teacher that the kids had to put a picture of Rosa Parks in there and then link to different videos, different pictures, different facts, or websites, that sort of thing. So, okay. Questions about that?
Okay, so when you put the icon on there, you just put the link at that point.
Yeah, you have to click on the icon. If you don't click on the picture on what you want to link, you're not going to see the link button up here until you click on that, and then there's the link. You can also, if you're a right-click person, you can also right-click, and they used to have it on here, and they took it off, so never mind. Don't right-click on that picture.
So can you run us through one more time how you put the videos link in there?
Yeah. So let me do it I'll just do it on the sunflower. So I have the icon here. I go out to YouTube. Let's see if we got a Mount Sunflower. Here we go. I choose this video. I just copy the link of the video. Go back to my drawing. Make sure this is selected in blue because that's what I want people to click on. Click the link button here, or it's under Insert Link. And then in the box, you just paste that link to that YouTube video. And now, if I hover, in drawings, you have to click on it and you'll get the link. If it was a PDF, it would work. Now here's the little caveat, little thing to remember. If I download this picture as a JPEG or a PNG, those links are broke. When it converts it to an image file, that breaks the links. So it worked really. If you want it to be so that when you run your cursor over it, it changes to the finger to show you there's a link there, you have to download it as a PDF. Question?
That's what I was going to ask you. Let's say I want to plug that into, like, compare that for a Nearpod or a presentation. Is that, you just download it?
I think as long as if it's a PDF, the links will still work. Okay. In classic sites, if you insert this in classic sites, the links still work. In new sites, drawings don't play well in new sites. We've tried it. Okay, let me show you an example, then I'll give you a little bit of time to play. So on our training site, on the iPad, this is a drawing file. I took a drawing file. I grabbed the icons of each of those iPad apps, and when you link to it or when you click on it, it takes you to that page. No, that's a drawing file. This is in classic sites. This is a drawing file that's just inserted in as a drawing file. It's public so that anybody can see it. So if I add another icon here in the drawing file, it'll sync over. Just be warned, classic sites is going away in about a year or so. Drawings doesn't work well in the new sites. We've been playing around with it, and it just doesn't work the way like this. So just be aware of that. Okay, how about you want 10 minutes? 10 minutes of sandbox time? If you want some help, if you want me to show you how to do a different activity.
Yeah, show us the, like, label or what are those?
Okay. We'll leave this. Okay. We'll leave this on. All right. Let's make a new one of these.
So with the Google link, if a student submits it through the drawings, your classroom, the teacher can still access the link.
They just have to click on the icons. Yeah.
So for the students that have typically done the civil rights projects, have they typically just submitted those as a Google drawing, or actually gone through the process of downloading it as a JPEG?
It depends on how you want it to look. If you don't care, if all you're concerned about is do they have links and where do those links take me, then just having them turn in a drawing is fine. As long as that's kind of a bad example because the background picture and the icons kind of blended in. So as long as you know that they have icons and those links work, if it was me, I would just have them turn in the drawing. All right, so a timeline. I'm just gonna. There's no set size really, anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line. So the line tool is right here on the toolbar. So I'm just going to start here and come across and draw a line. And I need to make it a little bit thicker. So our line thickness or our line weight is those parallel lines. Let's make it about, that's good enough. Oops, get out of there. Okay, so what do we want to do a timeline? What's our topic? Okay, so what starts first? So we start first here. And so you have, here at the top, you've got your lines. So you can do arrows, you can do elbow connectors. So if I wanted an elbow connector, If I needed some more room, I just click once and click again, and it kind of looks like that. So you have those lines, curved lines, and you could do freehand if you wanted to. I'll tell you, if you have a touchscreen Chromebook, drawings does not work very well with touchscreen Chromebooks, and there's no app for iPad, so it doesn't work on an iPad at all. All right, and then you have shapes here, so you have the different shapes, and then this is a text box. So if we insert the text box, what's our first event? If we're doing
The Emancipation Proclamation.
yeah, make me spell that.
Did you just say that, or the Google Drawings doesn't work on iPad? Okay.
Yeah.
And then what would be the issue with the Chromebook? Just being able to do
They don't have it coded for touch.
Okay, but
With
as far as
mouse, trackpad or mouse. And we have touchscreen Chromebooks, and it just, the cursor just sits there and it doesn't move. They haven't, I anticipate that that's going to be something they add in that they'll be able to do, but right now you can't. And then if you wanted to, you could put the date, the date range underneath or the date next to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I'm just going to click on that line, hold down my hold down my shift button. So both of those, the text box and the line, and I'm going to I'm on a Mac, it's either Command or Control C, which is copy, and then paste, and then drag this over here to the next part of my timeline. Then you can change the text box. I selected the text box, hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, click on the line. That selects both objects. Then you just do either, if you're on a Mac, it's Command C. If you're on a Chromebook or Windows, it's Control C to copy. Click off of it, and then paste, Control V or Command V. It's still kind of grouped together, and you could drag it to the next section. Okay. If you want a simple drag and drop activity, I'm going to make this background white. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a T-chart. This side's fruits. I'll just copy and paste that. And this side is not fruit. Okay. I'm going to put a line down here at the bottom so it kind of separates that. And we'll just bring this down just a little bit more. Okay, so I can insert image from the web. We have an apple. Not that apple. And that goes down here. And we'll insert another image from the web. How about carrot? And we'll do one more image. Steak. Oops. Okay. You shoot that out through Google Classroom and make a copy for every kid so that they have editing rights to it, and then they can click and drag and drop and categorize, and then they turn it back in Yes, you can't, on here you cannot lock the background. What you can do is you can group things together so they all move at once. So if you remember, if I click on this text box and hold down Shift and click on this text box and click on this line and click on this line and click on this bottom line, if you go to Arrange, or if you right click, you can choose Group. And now that's one object, so if I move it, it all moves together instead of one piece getting moved. But there's no way of locking that down so it can't move. Because
Table, I mean, it doesn't lock it down, but you could do a table in there.
no table. Oh yeah, there's a table. Yeah.
I use the snippet tool and then insert that as an image.
Yeah.
And they can't move the stuff.
Right. Yeah, but if you give them edit rights, they have the right to edit the document. That's why you can't lock it down. And if you give them view rights, then they can't move the stuff around. So anyway, that's just a simple drag and drop activity. That's something simple that you can set up to. Any other questions about any of that? Okay. Good. Yeah.
I know like if you have slides and docs, maybe that doesn't count against your storage space within Google Drive. Do drawings count against it?
Anytime you create a Google file, it does not count against your...
Even if I put like a really high res image in there.
No. If you download that, if I download this as a JPEG, then that counts. The drawing file itself does not count, no matter how big it is, no matter how many pictures I have on there. But if I download it and then upload it, then that does. But if you're on your school account, should be unlimited space. Okay, back to the Pear Deck. Back to the Pear Deck. Okay, so my good friend Carol Nelson, she's an instructional technology specialist in McPherson, Kansas, which is north of Wichita. She has this list of different things that you can do with drawings. Math manipulatives, games, showed you drag and drop. I'll show you on the website, I've got a page with some resources on there. Like magnetic poetry is from Casey Bell. Eric Kurtz has a lot of resources on his website. Okay, so that's kind of the tip of the iceberg. One thing I didn't show, which we have more and more teachers doing now, are having the kids do infographics, which is kind of cool. Yeah, the graphic organizers is really easy. You can make your own Venn diagram, your own T-charts really pretty quickly. Comic strips, because you can box those things together on the canvas. Yeah, the memes are funny. I'll show you how to use drawings in a hyperdoc. Okay. Very good. All right, let's move on. All right, drawings and docs. So, drawings wasn't ever really an app by itself. It was when it first came out, it was actually built into docs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here to Drive, and I'm going to create a new Google Doc. And so if you go up here to Insert, one of the options to insert is drawing. And when I click on that, you get basically a miniature version of Google Drawings. You get the canvas, which you can't resize. You're kind of stuck with it how it is. You can download it if you wanted to. There is a WordArt option, but if you're used to WordArt from Microsoft, you're going to be disappointed. Because WordArt in Google is only as good as the font you choose, and you can't curve it. It's pretty basic. Undo, redo buttons, zoom in, and you have your line tool, your shape tool, your text box, and your image tool. So everybody knows HyperDocs, right? Does anybody not know what a HyperDoc is? Just a couple of you. So HyperDocs, look it up. Do a search for HyperDocs if you don't know what it is. It's a way to basically bundle an entire unit of resources, kind of a unit plan for students in a graphical way on a Google Doc. Look it up, buy the book. I don't know how many books we bought for our team. We were just, HyperDoc, oh, HyperDoc, here, have a book. I was like, felt like Oprah. You get a book, and you get a book, and you get a book. Almost half of our teachers have the HyperDocs book because we really, really push that. So what happened? Let me show you this and how I came across this. So I'm doing a HyperDocs session with some high school teachers. And I'm showing them on Twitter how you can search for HyperDocs, because you can go #HyperDoc, and people are just sharing their Google links to HyperDocs, and you can go out and make a copy of it and use it. So I'm showing them, right? And we got about 15 minutes left or so, and I come across this one, and I wish I would have remembered the guy's name, but I found this and I had to stop because it just blew me away. So this was a Polygons HyperDoc that just happened to be posted on Twitter at the time I was looking and showing these high school teachers, here's what you can see, here's what you can find. So this is a HyperDocs about polygons. All right, pretty simple, right? Here's what polygons are and what they're not. Then he's got this interactive piece built in. Double-click the drawing below to edit it. Sort the figures by drawing them under the correct heading. When finished sorting, click and save. I've done this. All of these shapes were down here. But the students double-click and this opens. And they drag, that's the interactive piece. If you push out through Classroom and give everybody a copy, they do that. That's the work that they do on the document. And they save it and close, and it saves it. And then they go down to the next part, which is about symmetry. Double-click. Use the line tool. Use the line tool to draw a line of symmetry. So the students use the line tool, and they draw the line of symmetry. And when they're done, they save and close. You can have a place for them to take notes on that document too. You can have links to videos that maybe shows them what line of symmetry is. I had to stop. I saw that and went, I couldn't think anymore. I was just like, all these ideas were going in my mind, and I hadn't thought about until I saw this. I'm like, man, that's super easy, right? So in the document, all you have to do, you have it typed up however you want. I would suggest if you're going to do that, give them instructions like double-click below, double-click on the picture below, and then give them the instructions. Because if you notice, the instructions are not part of the drawing. The instructions are actually above on here. Okay. So let me just show you kind of how this works. So if I do insert drawing, we've seen this before, right? So here's what I'm going to do. This looks a little bit different, but not so much. If I come over here to more and do a search, make sure Google is selected. I'm going to do blank clock face. All right, what did I not click on something right? Insert drawing. Let's do this one. There we go. Now, you can't resize, I can't resize this. If I leave it transparent, it kind of resizes itself a little bit, makes it a little bit smaller to fit on the page. But you could, if you wanted to, you could change the background. It doesn't look that good. I would leave it transparent because if you have the rest of the document a different color, then this kind of blends in. And so I'm going to click Save, and it puts it in like a picture. I can resize this. It's still a drawing. If I double click on it, it opens up in the regular size. So you can resize it down kind of small and have some different ones on there if you want. So I can center that in the middle. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Above here, okay, so I didn't put a time in here. So I'll come back here and let's say I'll make a text box. And let me do this first. Let me make this a little bit smaller. There we go. These red lines, that red line means that that's centered right down the middle. And if you get them crossed, you're right in the center of that canvas. Let's say it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And we'll make this kind of big so you can see it. There we go. And that's way too big, so I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And you could set up a couple of these, but that's the instructions for that hyperdoc. Double click on the and then the students use the arrow tool to put that on there.
When you resize that, your text did not distort.
Uh-uh.
How did you?
It just resizes. I don't know.
No, then before, like my text did.
Oops, I double clicked.
Okay, so I guess we did get it smaller. Oh, we're hoping that.
Sometimes when you do that, if you group, it's more of when you group objects together, the text doesn't change. But what I found is if you do it like this in docs, then it does change. It scales down. That's what I'm looking for. Okay? Questions about this? I do want to give you some time to kind of open up a doc, make something that you would have your kids do in the doc itself. And if you're using Classroom, you give them edit rights, so you shoot it out. Every student, make a copy for every student, because they do have to have edit rights to double click on it, manipulate it, and then they can just hit the turn in button when they're done. Okay? We'll do 10 minutes again, because we got plenty of time. No, we don't. We don't have hardly any time. How about 5 minutes? How about 7 minutes? Okay.
Insert an image into a drawing. Does it compress the image?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how.
On your timeline that you had, and you had the text above the canvas,
good
obtain
question.
that?
As long as you don't download it,
So if we download it.
all you get is the canvas. That's a good question. I'll bring that up. Yeah. So we had a question about the timeline. Which I forgot to tell you, and I'll say it again in the next section that we do. But so on this timeline, if you remember, I had the text box above the canvas. Put event here. If I look at the drawing just like that as a drawing, I will see everything. I'll see the canvas and everything off the canvas. If I download that as anything, PDF, JPEG, PNG, it only downloads the checkerboard canvas part. So if you're going to download it, if you're going to have the kids make a timeline and then download it as a PDF, or just print it, it's only going to print the canvas, or it's only going to download the canvas. It's not going to download what's off the canvas. So keep that in mind. If you want the text print it, you download it as a PDF and print it, you're going to have to the text, the lines, and everything is on the canvas. So you just make your canvas wider and just size it as you need to. But if you're just going to look at it like this, then you don't have to do that.
So once you have your form that you're going to share with your students, how do you send it out to their folder so they can work on it?
Through Google Classroom, I make an assignment and I attach this file to the assignment. Or I just have them, the assignment is make a timeline. They can make their own timeline and they can upload it to the assignment. And they're just uploading the Google Drawings file. On something like that, if it was me, I would make the template. I would make this for them and just put one line in the middle, and then they can, because they'll be doing probably different timeline for different things maybe, and have different information. And then that way they all start on with the same template. I'm a big fan of templates. You just click on one of them, like I have it here, hold down the Shift key, and click on the other one, and then you can copy and then paste.
So Google Classroom will copy?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, it does.
Cool.
So what part, does drawing not work in the new site?
Insert. There's not an option to there's options to insert a doc, insert a slide, insert sheets. There's not an option to insert a drawing. There's an option to insert something from your drive, and you can go pick that drawing file and insert it, but it just doesn't look embedded like a document or a slide or how it does before. On the new slides, yeah, if you look at that on the new slides under insert, there's not an option to insert a drawing. You have to insert it from your drive, and it's there. The links don't work. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be there.
Yeah, no, my links still work. I just checked it.
Oh, did it? Oh, then they've changed it since the last I looked at it.
With the little hand, we've had people do like
got those breakout room things and put the links on, but the little pointer hand, so the kids are having trouble knowing when they embed these into Google Sites. That's what we
Are you using classic sites or new
New
sites?
sites. So when they put it in, the little hand to show that it's a link
Right.
is not
It's
there.
not working.
It's not visible in these drawings.
In the drawings.
That's right.
Yeah, but
And that, no, the hand does not.
the hand does not show up.
It doesn't show, so they don't know where.
Yeah, digital breakouts in classic sites is super nice.
We noticed when we switched to new, the little thing.
Yeah.
So the kids don't know.
Yeah, I hope they change it. I know we've given, I can get, as a trainer, we can give feedback, and so we've been giving a lot of feedback for the new sites. They are going to, we'll see a lot of updates to it in the next 6 months. From now until through 6 months, there'll be a lot of updates to it. Hopefully that's one of them. Okay, back to the Pear Deck. How you feeling now? Ooh, yeah. Okay. Any final questions about the HyperDoc or anything that I've shown so far? Excellent. Good. Hyper drawings. So, I stumbled across a tweet that showed how to embed a YouTube video in a Google drawing. And it was on a blog post that talked about hyper drawings, which is basically setting up a drawing file as a HyperDoc. Okay? So on the resources page on my site, I have a link to that blog post. But this is the exact example that came from the blog post. So in the actual HyperDoc itself, in Google Docs, you can chunk it like that polygons one. It showed examples, not examples. You could have had a place for some notes, and then it gave an activity, and then it went into the symmetry part. This is a math one. This is the flipped tech coach, or I don't remember. It's flipped tech coaching is the blog, and I have a link to it on my website. But what she did, these are just text boxes that she made different colors, and those are the parts of a HyperDoc: explore, engage, share, self-assess. And the student does the work on the drawing canvas. So we have a lot of math teachers that use this. They're doing coordinate plane work, shape work, like lines and segments and geometry type of work. We have a lot of teachers that we got the buy-in for HyperDocs, and it's tough. You know, math's hard in Google. Okay? But we got the buy-in from HyperDocs, and we showed them inserting it in the drawing piece in and making it, you can manipulate it. And then we came across this, and this just blew people's minds. So let me just show you. This is just a text box. To make that a blue color, you use the paint bucket tool. So if I just draw another text box over here, and I want to make this box green, I have this text box selected, and I can just choose green, and now that whole thing is green. And then you can type in there, you can add the images in, because it's really easy to drag and put the image right where you want it. So you can drag the image in. Okay, the video. To play this video, you have to double click. Oh, don't tell me it's not going to work. Oh, the dictionary pops up. Oh, dang it. All right, let's see if we can get one. Oh, there it went. And it's pulling.
Line box down
and it's pulling right from YouTube. It has to be a YouTube video. So if you're a district that blocks YouTube for students, they won't be able to watch it. It can't be a video that you have saved to your drive. It has to be a YouTube video. Okay? No. It's got to be from YouTube. So here's how you put that video in there. All right, so I have my new drawing here. You actually have to insert the video into a Google slide first, because you can't do it in Docs, and you can't do it in Sheets, but you can insert a video into slides. So if you do insert video in Google Slides, and you select the video that you want, it doesn't matter how big it is, and it's selected so the blue line is around it with the blue squares, and you right-click and copy that. You go to your drawing and you right-click and paste, and then you can resize it to whatever size you need it to be. So you could have video tutorials right there on the page with the area for your kids to work in.
What did you do first, the first step?
Okay, first steps, going back. Open up, create a blank Google slide.
But you don't have to save that document once you get it.
No. I'll put in a different video. Blank Google slide. You insert the video. Now, it can't be from your drive. It can't be one that you have saved into your drive. We've tried it. It doesn't work. It's got to be a YouTube video. So you can either do a search, or if you have the URL, you can put that in there. I'll do my the Mount Sunflower video that we saw. And I'll select that. And make sure it's got the blue line around it. You just click on it once, make sure the blue line's around it. Right-click on the video and copy it. Then you go to your drawing and you right-click and paste. You can move it around, you can resize it. And to view it, all you do is double-click. And depending on your network, it'll eventually go. Now here's the No, because your options to put it on a slide are search YouTube or put the YouTube URL in there. Yeah. But like I said, if your students are blocked from YouTube, they won't be able to view it on the... Yeah, I know. So let me show you... Let me undo this. You could put the link on there, absolutely. You just won't have the video playing on the document. So then we thought, you know what else Google has drawing embedded into it? What else? What other tool did I just show you had its drawing embedded into it? Docs. So can we do the same thing with Docs? I still have this one copied. If I insert a drawing, look, I can paste that video right there. Now here's the thing you have to do though. You got to double click here, and you got to double click here. And then it'll work. So you got 4 clicks and then it works. But you...
Another way to do what you just did is slides, but it's not.
Yeah. But you have to insert it into slides first, just on any slide, and you can delete this when you're done. Copy this, and then either paste it in this or paste it in this.
And it won't work in a regular doc, just the doc.
it puts this, so you'd have to put like double click here, and then you just have to kind of train the kids to double click it again to get it to play. So that's the workaround for embedding a video into a doc. I mean, it's not pretty, but you can do it. Or having that video tutorial right on your canvas or right next to your canvas of your document. Any questions about that?
And then would you upload this assignment in the classroom, or would you?
Yeah, so you got those videos, then you just attach this file to an assignment and make a copy for each kid, and then they'll get it how it comes with the links to the videos and links to whatever websites you want them to go to. Like if there's Khan Academy.
Like that math one, with the little map that went around and set it down, you would insert that, how would you get that to Google Classroom again?
Which one?
The one you got, the tweet.
Oh, the polygons one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just send that one out through I would just attach that file to an assignment and make a copy for each kid. And when you make a copy, they have edit rights so that then they can manipulate it. Okay? All right, back to the presentation. We have just enough time to finish up here. Okay, so how are we feeling? Are there any questions? I'll stay after if you want me to, if you got.
For the labeling activity, would it be the same as the drag and drop?
Yeah, so you have two options. You can make the text boxes. So like what I usually show is labeling a skeleton. And I'll put the parts of the skeleton in a text box, and then the kids could drag that text box onto the part. Or you can set up the skeleton or the picture with the lines and empty text boxes and have the kids type inside the text boxes. So there's kind of a drag and drop activity, or there's a fill in the box activity. It's two different ways. All right. Hopefully no red faces. Hey, awesome. Okay. A little bit of reflection here in the next 5 minutes. What are you taking back? What are you going to work on for the rest of the week so that you can use it next week? What are you excited about that you saw today? What did you not like? That's okay too. And I won't show these. This will be part of that Google Doc that you get in an email from me. So you'll get to see what you typed if you forget. Some people are still typing. We'll just wait about 1 more minute. Still hear clicks. Okay, are we good? Yes? Okay. Pear Deck. If you want Pear Deck, I will give you, I don't even work for them, so I'm happy to give their stuff away. You can have Pear Deck for free for the rest of the school year. So it should have popped up. Did it pop up? Yep, there's that link. If you click on it and sign into that link with your Google account, it will give you a premium account through the end of May. And, You're welcome. We bought Pear Deck last fall when we saw it, and it's really simple to use, and our teachers just are going crazy with it. And now that they have it integrated into Google Slides, it's really easy to use. And so they have a booth downstairs. You can stop by and talk to Nick. Their world headquarters is in Iowa, and they have offices in Kansas City. So, and that's it. And they got Nick running around. He came and did training for us at the beginning of the year in Topeka, beginning of the year training for some of our teachers, and then the next day he was off to Wyoming to do some training. So thank them. Go down, get a sticker. Thank them for letting you try it, and feel free to share that link with your teachers too. There's no limit. And it's a free premium account. Okay. Session survey. I think hopefully you know what's up with that. Let me show you real quick. If you go out to my website, up here at the top where it says presentations, if you actually click on presentations, you'll see the TCEA logo. Here's basically everything I showed you. These are all linked to videos, so like changing the background, changing the layout. Those are tutorials that I put together. Transparent versus regular images, using it with Google Classroom. Here's my tutorial on creating a labeling activity, using parts of a plant as the example, graphic organizers, and then creating a thing link. Here is the video on doing with the drawings, and there's the video from her website. And here's the resources. This is my good friend Carol Nelson. She's a Google certified trainer from McPherson, Kansas. Eric Kurtz, Control Alt Achieve. Holy cow. Follow him on Twitter. I have like 3 blogs that I subscribe to, and this is one of them because he puts out some awesome stuff. He's got a template library for Google Drawings that will just blow your mind. And it's on his website, and everything is view only, so you just make a copy and use it in your class. It's amazing. Free Tech for Teachers. Here's a couple blog posts that he put out. Matt Miller ditched that textbook. This is from his blog, so these are all the blog posts. And the Teacher Tribe podcast, which is Matt Miller and Casey Bell. They've actually had 3 podcasts dedicated to, two dedicated to drawings, and then one that they talked a little bit about. And these are the podcasts embedded into the site, so you can just listen to them from there if you want. But that's on the website, and you have that link. And that link will be on that document that you get later tonight or tomorrow. Depends on how the rest of the night goes. Okay. Is there any other questions? You guys were wonderful. Thank you very much.